Hey guys, we have a relatively shorter video today, so I was requested by you guys to do a response to this video. Doppler effect absolutely proves flat earth. Phenomenal. This sounds interesting. You see, it's not very often that flat earthers engage with physics. They usually just dismiss it or claim that it's fake, or it's, quote, laws created by the heliocentric perspective, which of course is absolutely nonsense. So needless to say, I was surprised when the flat earther tried to use one of these physical laws in an attempt to prove their space pizza. Let's have a look. But before we begin, I would like to give a mention to this channel's long-term sponsor, NordVPN. Nord is an encryption service that hosts over 4,000 servers in over 62 countries. Ever wanted to watch your favorite shows that aren't available in your country? Ever wanted to protect yourself while surfing the web? NordVPN will satisfy your browsing needs, no matter if you're using Windows, Mac, iOS, or Android. Just head to nordvpn.org/stick or use the code STICK to get a special offer of $3.99 per month for 2 years. That's nordvpn.org/stick. Thanks for listening, guys, and thanks to NordVPN again for being a long-term sponsor. Anyway, let's talk about the Doppler effect now. So this video starts off by playing a video someone else made explaining the Doppler effect. It is done very well in the visuals to give the audience a proper understanding of this physical law. So I'm going to play a few bits and pieces of it for those of you guys who don't know what the Doppler effect is. We'll address the flat earthers' claims afterwards.
The Doppler effect. In Sheldon's words,
it's the apparent change in the frequency of a wave caused by relative motion between the source of the wave and the observer.
So here's a thing that is emitting waves. We see the Doppler effect happening when the thing that is emitting waves moves. In the direction it's moving, the wavefronts bunch up, and behind it they spread out. If our object is moving towards a stationary observer, these bunched up waves are observed at a high frequency, and if the object is moving away from a stationary observer, the waves are observed at a lower frequency. So let's say you are standing in the middle of a road. That's you, and a car drives past you very fast. As it does so, it honks its horn. The horn to you might sound something like this. So it starts at a high pitch and moves to a lower pitch, even though from the driver's perspective the horn is playing the same pitch the entire time. As the vehicle's coming towards you, the sound waves that it's emitting bunch up, and so are delivered to you at a higher frequency. And then when the vehicle passes you and is moving away from you, the sound waves spread out, and so you hear them at a lower frequency.
Awesome explanation. Let's see what the flat earther has to say.
Meet Henry. There's Henry there. He's perplexed. Why is Henry perplexed? Well, Henry's perplexed for a couple reasons, but mainly because he doesn't understand what he just heard about the Doppler effect. You see, Henry is a recent graduate of a high-grade university, and however, even after learning all of the trash that they threw at him, he realized that the Earth was not exactly spinning.
I like how you just make up a fictional character who is both a flat earther and a university graduate. I don't think those two words belong in the same sentence.
He realized that it's a flat Earth and not moving. So when he started contemplating the Doppler effect and its applications to our life, he became perplexed. He was wondering, why does a train, when it's moving from west to east, sound exactly the same as a train moving from east to west? You see, because a train moving from west to east, its Doppler effect should be so diminished, in fact, that it would never happen on a train heading from west to east, because he and the atmosphere are turning away from the sound waves faster than they are traveling towards him.
Okay, before I actually debunk that, I want to make a correction to your own argument. You're not supposed to say the Doppler effect becomes diminished. You're supposed to say the observer is moving away faster than the speed of sound. Of course, this isn't true, but I don't know how you could fuck up your own argument like this. I'm kind of disappointed because I actually thought you had a grasp on what the Doppler effect is, but I guess that's a little too much to expect from a flat earther. When you say the Doppler effect is diminished, that means there is little to no Doppler effect that is affecting the viewpoint of the observer, which means there would be no relative motion between the two objects. That's actually kind of the opposite of the argument you're trying to make. But then again, I don't know why I'm so fixated on you presenting your argument wrong, since I'm just going to debunk it anyway. I just find it hilarious because I could literally be a better flat earther than you.
In fact, if a lightning bolt were to strike to the west of Henry, he should never hear the thunder, because the speed of sound is less than 800 miles per hour.
Alright, that's much better. Although this argument has practically nothing to do with the Doppler effect, now my video title is clickbait. God damn it, look what you made me do. Okay, let's pull apart this argument for real now. When the Earth is spinning, it's not just the land that's moving, nor is it just the objects on the land. No, the Earth is an entity that is composed of the dirt and rock, the objects on the surface, and the air inside its atmosphere. When the Earth spins, everything inside spins with it, which means in our perspective, everything is stationary. Relativity is everything, so unless something is moving relative to us, we won't see that it's moving. And it's the same with the air and everything within the Earth's atmosphere. If you're sitting in a car, for example, and the car is traveling at a constant speed with no acceleration, you won't feel it, and neither will any object within your car. Let's just think of that in terms of the Doppler effect, since I want to at least talk about it a little bit before the end of this video. Like I mentioned earlier, everything is relative, so if you're sitting in the front of the car and talking to someone behind you while the car is moving at 60 miles per hour, for example, the passenger won't hear a frequency change in your voice. That's because everything is relative, and that's part of the definition that Sheldon gave in the beginning.
It's the apparent change in the frequency of a wave caused by relative motion between the source of the wave and the observer.
Because there's no relative motion between you and the person sitting behind you, the pitch of your voice sounds the same. Now, if we take that and expand it to your example, the source of the thunder sound isn't moving relative to you. Even if you're spinning away on the Earth at 800 miles per hour, that is irrelevant because ultimately the movement of the thunder source is stationary in your perspective. In the train example, the train is moving towards or away from you relatively speaking, so you would hear a pitch change. But the spinning of the Earth does not matter here because both the source of the wave and the observer is spinning along with the Earth. Relativity is everything. But there is a real-life example of a wave traveling slower than the speed in which we are receding from it. We can tell because of the Doppler effect actually, because stars and galaxies are red-shifted. What this means is that the light rays we observe are red, because red has a low frequency, and this is due to the Doppler effect of the galaxies moving away. But because space is constantly expanding faster and faster, there will eventually be a point in which we wouldn't be able to physically observe distant stars, because they will be moving away faster than the speed of light. In other words, they would get red-shifted to oblivion. Kind of interesting to think about, isn't it?
Old Henry, he realized what they were teaching was the Earth was spinning away at least 800 miles per hour at his latitude. Now, if he was down closer to the equator, it'd be 1,000 miles per hour. Every second that went by, he would be further and further away from the sound waves. And yet something from the east, he would hear much sooner than something from the north or south, correct? We don't witness this, do we? This is absolute proof that the Earth is not moving.
The only thing this proves is that your brain cells aren't moving.
Find someone who can get around the Doppler effect. Not only does it work with trains, but it works with lightning, it works with anything else, because when sound is involved, there are certain principles and properties that just can't be changed.
Let's think of it this way. Sound waves require a medium to travel. In this case, it is air. Sound is basically a compression of air that travels as a wave away from the source. The air within the atmosphere is part of the Earth. When the Earth spins, the air spins with it. Otherwise, we would have devastating winds that would destroy everything. Okay, because the air is moving along with the Earth, that means sound cannot lag behind the Earth's spin, because the sound uses air to propagate. So as long as the air isn't lagging behind the Earth's spin, neither will sound. And you don't feel any wind when you're sitting in a car with its windows rolled up, do you? So why wouldn't it be the same with Earth?
So if you're moving away from something at 800 miles per hour and it's traveling towards you at 790 some miles per hour, it will never catch you, will you? Well, you might get it on the other side of the Earth, but I think the sound would be too diminished by that time.
Wow.
Anyway, just wanted to show you how the Doppler effect proves that the Earth is not spinning.
I hope you realize that your argument has very little to do with the Doppler effect. The Doppler effect talks about the apparent change in frequency of a wave for the observer due to relative motion. You were talking about the absolute velocity of a sound wave in comparison to the Earth's spinning speed. Very different things.
Henry doesn't have to be perplexed. He knows he's right. He can totally trash the rest of the education he was holding on to. He now realizes that things, even that science came up with that were correct, prove that the Earth does not move. The Doppler effect. See if anyone can disprove that one.
Nice of you to cherry pick some parts of science you like while completely denying other parts of it. But then again, flat earthers aren't the only ones who do this. Why did you even have to create this stupid Henry character? It hardly adds to your video at all, and it seems to be wasting everyone's time. Anyway, before I end this video, I do want to bring up an observation that supports a round earth that was mentioned by Vsauce, and this is the Eötvös effect. This is the fact that objects become lighter and heavier depending on its movement eastward or westwards on the Earth. When moving east, the object increases its centrifugal speed, so it is able to escape the Earth's gravity just a bit and becomes slightly lighter. While moving west, it has the opposite effect and the object becomes slightly heavier. This effect is only possible because the Earth is spinning counterclockwise when viewed from above. On a stationary flat Earth, this would not happen at all. I'd like to see you flat earthers debunk that one. And this time, try to say more than just, it's fake, alright? Cool. Anyway, that's my time. Thank you to Fireshard for being the top tier patron this month. Your support means the world to me. Thank you. And thanks to all other patrons, as well as those of you who just simply watch and share my videos. I'll see you next week.